Well, I'm Carla Padró, and I actually am a teacher. I teach museum studies and museum education and also other subjects related with the pedagogy cultural field. And I'm also a researcher on museum education. As a matter of fact, I come from the University of Barcelona. I teach at the Faculty of Fine Arts in a little tiny area called, that nowadays we call cultural pedagogy. We used to be art education, but since we opened up our scope of research and teaching, we kind of work in different, we try to work in a hybrid system where we juxtapose theory and practice. And as a matter of fact, I am in this project because I'm very interested in seeing how practice is being connected to theory and how practice can transform other ways of envisioning museums. And at the same time, I'm very interested in the personal and political aspects of research, not only into thinking about universals when you do something related to museums and museum education, but see the relationships between when we talk about learning and how do we connect it with communication, with marketing, and with other areas that in a museum seem to be part of the learning agenda, but sometimes they collapse, and sometimes there are lots of tensions regarding with how do we want to invite the visitors to do something with our museum. At the same time, I think it could be very interesting to map, because one of the good outcomes of the project is mapping, to map how to create a dialogical practice among ourselves, right? And how at the same time to see the differences that, and instead of seeing the differences, to see how the in-between of these differences could become something else, and how we can transform this like path, which is not fixed, that we are in, like one comes from here and one comes from here, and there is something that we are going to create and something that we are going to negotiate and articulate, and I think this is very positive. Another impact that we'll have from the university is the way we do research in an international scale and an European scale in this case, and I think it's very important. And then I think it's a challenge to see how we can cope with, let's say, a European common framework issues and then local issues also. One of the subjects that we are teaching at my department, which is a subject called Art Education and Case Studies, is that the research that we are going to undertake has to do with case studies and mapping case studies. And I think it's a very good methodology to find specific themes and tensions, contradictions, and paradox while we try to discuss issues of museum mediation. So I think that we'll have lots of challenges to go for. And the fact that in the team, in our European team, we have sociologists, anthropologists, we have researchers from the communications field. But for me, I think what's very important is to situate knowledge in our own experiences and in our own social perspectives, social and cultural perspectives, and it opens up diversity. So that I think it's a way of thinking that becomes more dialogical, and then it's a matter of seeing how we can relate to the process, how we can reconstruct and retell the process. One of the things that I'm afraid of I know that good practice is one of the other issues of the project, so one of the things that I'm very concerned when we speak in terms of good practice is that sometimes we think it in terms of celebratory, universal recipe sort of a thing, But I think that we have a challenge if we are building up this community of practice through an ethics of care thing. We have this challenge to also visualize the tensions, the problems within what's going on. And I think it's very rich for the museums, within a museum also.